Give you every advantage I found. Couldn't find a better fit for them, along with my crown. And since the baton was passed, I've been down. Cause failing's not an option, and dad is not a noun, not at all.
My message to any dad, man, first off, know that, yeah, it is a hard job, but it's the greatest job in the world. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't change anything about it. Everything you're doing from here on out, if it didn't have purpose before, now it has purpose. It's the most important thing you'll ever do. Just be a dad.
Welcome to another episode of Dad Is Not a Noun. My name is Ishmael, changing the narrative for men of color fatherhood, as well as changing the narrative on the things I care about. And I'm in a different location. I'm not in my home in Pennsylvania. I'm in New York, the beautiful East Harlem at the Fatherhood Center. You can see the background with the Real Dads Network. The Real Dads Network is a nonprofit organization, one of the oldest oldest Black nonprofit organization dedicated in empowering fathers in color, because when we empower dads, we give them the capability to empower their family as well as the community. So for more information on the Real Dads Network, just go to www.realdadsnetwork.org and you get all the information of what they do in the community. And I'm truly honored to be a part of that organization. And what makes this awesome is I have a special guest who resides in Harlem. My guest wears so many hats. She's wearing a hat right now.
Yes.
She's a storyteller, filmmaker. I can go on and on. She directed a short film called Paris Blues in Harlem, which was featured in PBS Online Film Festival. She's been on Showtime, PBS, CBS, NBC, and more. And she's here with me to talk about her children's book, which I'm excited to talk about, Paris and Pop. Thank you for coming on, Nadhege. I don't.
It's okay. You got it. It's close.
Right, as long as I got it, because I'm bad with names, and I just want to be.
It's okay. We're gonna create a cadence. We're gonna go Nadhege.
Nadhege, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Before I get into the book and your story, I ask all my guests this key question because I'm all about mental health. How's your heart at this moment?
My heart is absolutely in a great place. It wasn't in a great place a couple of weeks ago because I had a panic attack, stress. And I'm so glad you answered that. You must have been, you asked that question. You must be intuitive because everything right now from after that episode is checking in on my heart. And I've been going to acupuncture to de-stress.
That's good. That's good to know. So, like, what other things do you do just to keep sanity? Because I know you live in New York, you're going at a fast pace. Like, what do you do for yourself to just calm yourself? As well as the one thing I always tell people, you're constantly pouring so much into other people, into your work, other people. What do you do to like pour stuff into yourself to keep yourself going?
One of the key things I've learned for me is just, you have to know yourself because everyone's different in terms of how do we maintain stress-free. Some person may like going on an outing, another person likes isolation. So for me, I've learned having stronger boundaries because it protects my peace. Because I pour a lot. I give a lot to the point when I start to have boundaries, you will realize those who care about your mental health and those who don't care about your mental health. So maintaining my boundary and being clear on my boundaries is where I find I'm able to protect my peace, silence, not react to things that's not really about you. It's really about the other person. And I love silence. I love isolation. I love water spas, just soaking myself up, and nature. If I can get to nature, of course, it's New York City. So I like to have a lot of silence just to de stress. And music works also, meditative music, nature music.
That's good. And then also, I know the word no kind of has a bad connotation to it, but how does the word no feel to you?
Oh, it feels beautiful. Part of learning to be clear on your boundaries and stronger on your boundaries requires no.
Mm,
So we have to learn to be comfortable with no, because somebody's yes and your no's could be tampering on your free will.
mm,
So we have to be comfortable with no, even if it might have a negative connotation, but I don't see anything negative about it.
right,
And then I know somehow we have to learn how to compromise. And compromise requires 50-50, or else someone's pouring too much and the other person is spilling.
right.
So part of the compromise is we have to balance our yes and our no's. No's are actually positive.
Definitely, definitely agree. And how has that yes, no reflection help you as a storyteller, but also h- what was the process for you
Mhm.
becoming this amazing storyteller?
Oh, thank you. He's an amazing storyteller. I
Were you
appreciate.
like, I put that together with the yes and
Yeah,
no?
you did it. I appreciate the compliment, because if you see amazing in me, that's mean you're amazing, because we're a reflection of each other. So thank you. The question is, how have I as a well,
As-
this is where I had the challenges, because artists requires to work in the dark.
yes.
Whether you're a writer, a dancer, or whatever medium of artistry that you have talent in, and some of us are multi-talented. That's a whole nother story, right? Which art form am I feeling today?
Right.
And we can't do all at once or in season, but there are people gifted with more than just one talent. Our ability to say yes and no determines how we're going to produce this art form.
Mhm.
And when you're doing more yes than no's, the artist suffers. The artwork is not going to manifest. Those ideas that are in your mind, and you're impatient or you're excited to go ahead and work from this dark space, which is called emptiness, zero, right? But the idea is in your head, and you need a level of concentration, whether you're painting this idea in your mind without interruption,
Mhm.
because a second of interruption, all that those beautiful ideas that's like all over the place, and you're trying to shape it,
Right.
whether it's a dance choreography or a song or a piece of poetry or this dialogue for this character.
Right.
1 second where you have not made it clear, like, this is my time to create, and I can't answer the phone, or I can't answer this question for you because I'm going to lose it.
Right.
Because that 1 second, 3 seconds where it's flowing, we
Right.
call it the artist zone, and someone comes and interrupt, It may take you an hour, 2 hours to get back to where was I? Because of the level of concentration. So the more yes you say, you're not going to manifest that idea that you want to produce, right? And the more no's you say, yeah, that idea starts to shape, and then you bring it out to the world to share this gift.
Yeah.
You're going to have to say a lot of no's until it's done, and then you come back to yes. But now it's tricky. I'm a mother of three, right? And responsibilities, and dad got responsibilities, I got responsibilities, and how we sacrifice and balance the yes and the no's, because everybody has a right to dream,
Wow.
and we all came here on a mission and a purpose.
Wow.
But now that you're a mom and a dad, you have to divide that time with children. And moms sacrifice a lot.
Yeah.
And it comes to a point, if all mom is doing is dividing her time, because yes, 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 time is moving. Right? And then dad, yes, 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 time is moving. Everyone you're saying yes to, you're shrinking.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you start to say no, because as they develop, there are things you're going to have to say no, because you're teaching them to be independent.
Yeah.
So that more time is given to you. So then there's the balance between mom and dad, responsibilities, and it becomes tricky now that you're an artist, a mom, wife, all these various titles. So the no's have to increase as everybody grows.
Yeah.
Right? Because okay, now you can do this. Now you can take the train. Now you, I can do more.
Right.
But then there's still a partner. Now you have to figure out how to divide that time also. And when it's not balanced, it creates friction,
Wow.
because the sacrifice of a mom,
Yeah.
the division is, we're not in a society that supports mom, peace of mind, so that the house can have peace.
Wow.
So yeah, the yes or no's are it all depends on how focused and how confident you want to deliver this idea that's coming out of nowhere, right? We know it comes from someplace, right?
Right.
In the knowing.
Right.
And then now I want to make it happen. You're going to have to do more no's than yes for that season and moment until you birth. It's like birthing a child, you're birthing an idea. So if
Right.
you're going to birth an idea, you're going to have to say no, like a mother who's pregnant. I can't eat this. I can't eat that. Oh
Right.
no, I can't go ahead and just swim and land on my stomach.
Right.
The same thing until that baby's out. Now I can do more. It's the same. It's the same.
No,
Same.
I agree. I agree with that too, especially when it comes to a storyteller. When you write a project and you're done and you want to put it out into the world, you have so many people who's never been in your experience or shared the culture or understand the culture or or take the time to do the homework or do the history on it. They have a tendency of wanting to whitewash it. And
Mhm.
that's not the purpose of your story. Even though you want it in a larger audience, you're
Mhm.
not going to disrupt the integrity of what you gave birth. And
Mhm.
so that's why it's important to say those no's. And unfortunately, what happens is you may find that audience. It may not be that bigger audience that's
Mhm.
out there, but as
Mhm.
long as you find your audience and they appreciate it,
Mhm.
and like that's why I love that your short film. It's that the hard decision of, do I keep something even though it's not economically sound, but it still has a benefit
Mhm.
to the community. And being that that place was there to help so many people out, generational, and generational. And
Mhm.
I'm like right now, like in this society, like in New York, you see like things like that, like disappearing because of foreclosure, or because they
Mhm.
just like they can't sustain it, or like no one in the family wants to take that mantle of keeping it going, and
Mhm.
so they sell it. And that's why I thought that your short film was on spot. uh, but before we get into that, just one thing too, as a storyteller, is that a little piece of you, or a lot of piece of you, are in that's written in that story. So like just talk about your background a little bit growing up, and how that kind of is deep rooted in your storytelling.
Yes. My background, I was born here and my parents are from Haiti, Haiti. So I come from
But before you go on, explain why you call it
Haiti.
Haiti.
Yes.
Explain that for
Okay.
me.
So Haiti doesn't resonate well because that's not the pronunciation. Because when you pronounce it hate, it has a sound hate, heat to it. And going back to its original spelling, some spell it Hayti or Ayiti. It's indigenous, Iowak. Haiti sounds better than Haiti, because that Haiti to me, I felt like this was the sound of it alone resonated with the hatred and the misinformation about Haiti that's imposed on Haiti
Right.
in, in the world. And that's not the IT I know. Because when coming from parents who are from the Caribbean, when we were young, because we're not from the South, you know how they sent you to the South
Yeah.
in the summertime?
Yes.
Well, they sent
Yes.
you to the islands. Okay. And sometimes you're there, especially at, I guess, the toddler age, because becoming a parent, I realized, oh my God, childcare is very expensive.
Right.
So we were sent to IET, and I was there for about 3 years up until I was ready for kindergarten, and he brought me back here. And I had to relearn English because I forgot English and just only completely spoke French. And then when I got to the United States, my father, who's sort of a revolutionary spirit, we're not speaking French, we're speaking Creole. That's
Yeah.
the language we come from. And I completely forgot French, although it is in the Creole, embedded in the Creole language, but you know, there's distinctions. But that's where my roots are from. So I would say I'm IT, American IT, because again, I grew up here and I was born here and I'm of the culture here, but then was raised by my parents by their cultural ways. So I had two worlds happening at once. So I remember meeting my paternal grandfather who owned land, and I believe it was rice plantation. So the IET, the people were thinking like poverty is what it was very difficult for me to see the images that they had here, and that's not the image I grew up over there. Crystal blue waters,
Right.
great food, great temperature, going up in the mountains to cool off, right? Because that's what IET means, is land of mountains, and just the scenery and the beauty. So it was shocking having to come back here because I completely forgot who my
Right.
parents were, right?
Right.
Sorry, the light fell.
No, that's right.
Completely forgot who my parents were because I was a toddler when they sent me. So I had to remember, oh, those are my parents.
Right.
not not coming from this beautiful island, beautiful experience, beautiful culture, beautiful people. Yeah, there's political stuff that happens, but I didn't engage, I didn't see, because
Right.
I guess, media does a great job and blows it up like it's the entire island.
Right.
So coming here, um, like I said, I met my paternal grandfather, didn't know him well, but I just know like he had the money to finance my father's education in Europe
Wow.
in agriculture engineering, because it was his responsibility to come back and cultivate the land. But now that I've learned about the whole Clinton rice embargo,
Right.
that probably destroyed everything, because this man can just give you $40,000 cash in the 70s out of his pocket.
Wow.
Right? I've learned this once I got older.
Right.
I Once the dynamics between my parents, my mom became a single mother, which was real because it was happening in the cities. My grandmother, who would travel back and forth, stayed, I guess because we were teenagers. Now my mom, she's a nurse, so she works long hours. So she was the one supervising teens,
Right.
teen girls,
Right.
and my younger brother. So I became curious about my grandfather on my maternal side. And one day I just decided I'm going to ask my grandmother about my grandfather, but she was more interested in Jeopardy. And I said, you don't understand what they're saying. You watch Jeopardy every day and cursing at the people in Creole, right? She was lost. She would cuss, okay? I'll say cuss. She would, if you hear, Creole cursing, it hits your body in a different way when somebody's cursing you in Creole. Like, just like, and like that Southern twang, when they
Yes.
curse, you can feel it.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. It's not, not that proper cursing.
Right.
And she's cursing at the losers
Right.
every day. This was her mantra, right? Watch Jeopardy and Will and Fortune. And I'm like, I'm trying to learn about my grandfather. Nobody's talking. The silent generation.
Right.
So I said, grammaire is what we say, because that's French. Grammaire. I said, grammaire. What's his name? Like, leave me alone. Who is he? What is he like? He's a mulatto. Leave me alone. Mulatto doesn't tell me anything, but it tells me you went for a grandpa because he light skinned it, right? Because my grandmother is dark skinned, beautiful woman, but colorism was big for her, right? So I said, oh, okay, that doesn't tell me anything, and I really wanted to know him, and I would ask my mom, well, I didn't know him. I only met him once. And I would ask my aunt, I would ask my uncle. I probably get stories. 10 men came in the backyard and tried to jump him, and he beat all 10 with a branch of stick. So that to me was interesting, because it was giving me insight into his personality. Do I have parts of it? And what does he look like? Okay, mulatto, but what does he look? Who does he look like in my 5 uncles?
Right.
I couldn't get anything until 3 years ago.
Wow.
Finally got a picture of my grandfather, because my mom said, well, our cousin is not speaking to us. She's the only one that has the picture of my father. Mm-hmm. And she's not opening the door. She's not answering the phone. We have to wait till she transitioned. So she transitioned.
Right.
With the ancestors. Yay, can you get the photo? If you're not talking to anybody, can we at least, before they go in the apartment and clean out whatever, I need a photo of my grandpa. I desperately want to know what he looks like. And when I got that picture, it was like, whoa, right? What does he look like? It was huge.
Right.
And meeting Samuel Hargreaves.
Mm-hmm. Oh, before you get into Samuel, just talk about like the description of him when you finally saw that picture. Did you see any likeness of yourself in him, or like this, like elaborate a little bit?
Oh,
okay.
My mom says, of course, then pictures, we didn't have good lighting. When I look at him, it's like my eyes. And then when I look at my son, because I'm a mother of 3, thick eyebrows, I said, that's my grandfather.
Wow.
That's my grandfather. So now I'm having battles to get his birth certificate.
Wow.
Because nobody knows his birthday. So I'm
Right.
like, my grandmother really kept silent, said
Right.
nothing about him. So it tells me the dynamics were not great. What
Right.
did grandfather do to you?
Mm.
What happened?
Right.
So, yeah, my stories, even though you don't think you're pulling elements of
Mm.
yourself, when I look back, I'm like, oh, maybe that's the void I was trying to fix in me.
Right.
I put it in the character somehow, pieces of it. So, Paris and Pop Up, the more I analyze Paris and even in the storytelling, that Samuel Hargreaves became my pop up that I've never had
Mm.
because it also, because I said if my father couldn't get it right, at least grandpa's there
Right.
to help
Yes.
fill that void.
Right.
You know how fathers or grandfathers or role models teaching their girls, "Well, watch out for this,
Yes.
be careful," because that's, in terms of how to assess if this relationship is right for you or not.
Right.
Because sometimes you have blind spots.
Yeah.
You have blind spots. And it's not until you get into the experience.
Mm-hmm.
You could have avoided the experience.
Yeah.
And he helped me to feel safe and protected because he knew how to honor his word.
Mm.
If he said 11 o'clock, he was there at 11 o'clock. Maybe it's that military training, right? And he's from Alabama.
Right.
And they own what do they call them? Juke joints. I
Okay.
think that's the name for the South, but jive bars. It was a particular phrasing he would tell me, and that he carried that on. That's a famous mantra of his: carry on, soldier. And he carried that same spirit, that same I'm a man, but not I'm a man. He didn't and I never heard, particularly in his generation, I'm a man. They
Right.
just did what men do. They
Yeah.
didn't say I'm a man, right?
Facts.
Because if he said, did I talk about how I was fundraising and I stepped into his bar to get funds for my first film.
Right.
See, that's how our relationship started
Right.
because I did a fundraising where I performed
Mm-hmm.
in a monologue. So then I remembered his bar, which nobody really thought it was. Let me put it this way. It's like a time capsule. You enter and you all of a sudden you're sucked in like you're in the 1970s.
Right.
The same decor. So it has character.
Right.
Wooded. And I didn't realize he was a carpenter, so he built some of this stuff himself.
Wow.
And it maintained his attire from the 1970s, his baby blue suits and
Right.
alligator shoes and fedora hat. He changed 3 times a day. He had his dawning outfit, afternoon, and evening. And he was sharp.
Mm.
Got up,
Mm-hmm.
4 a.m., head to the bar, 11
Right.
o'clock, gets his breakfast. So he was very regiment,
Right.
very structured,
Right.
and allow people to have their opinion, never dismiss it.
Mm.
So it's those traits and characteristics I find are starting to be missed.
Right.
And we're losing it and we need to get it back.
Right.
Right? Especially the relationship between male and a female. So myself and Sam,
Right.
he gave me that representation that I never had.
Right.
I show up. Hey, Mr. Hargreaves, how you doing?
Right.
He said, and he believed in me because he just took $250 out of his pocket. I didn't recall. I said, he might not remember me. And I said, hey, I'm fundraising for my first film, blah, 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 blah. And he just looked, took $250 out of his pocket. He old school, kept money in his pocket. Jordan Productions, I was like, get all the cash out of your apartment because we're using your apartment for holding. He had cash. He had his stash.
Wow.
And I said, I need you to get all your cash out. I mean, rolls, right?
Right.
Gave me $250. And he said, go on, Miss Hollywood. And I said, he doesn't really know me. He don't remember me.
Right.
This man believed in me. And I said, I'm going to tell a story about you. Because I would update him, stop by the bar and find out that he owns the whole building, commercial and residential. I said, oh. And then he said, yeah, that's Rosa Parks. That's my friend. Walked the Montgomery Walk together. I said, you're living history right now. Well, so he said, yeah, across the street, that was the Black Panther site. So I said, you're amazing. Yeah, cook 7 days a week. Come on, you can eat. You don't have to buy a drink.
Wow.
So he had that humanitarian in him. He was also an activist, politically connected. Even signed me up for the Democratic Club. And I said, I do no Democrat, Republican. I can't deal with politics. And he just let me rant, right? Not thinking logically, but he showed me how to, okay, you may not be into politics, but you're going to need politics.
Yeah.
You're going to need some friends politically to do the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
As the artist who wants to amplify the stories and create social impact. So he was teaching me without saying, oh, you don't have a right to that. I'm like, oh, I can't stand. I was like, I can't. And he, no, I got you a Democratic. I purchased it. He purchased membership for me. And he said, okay, go attend the meetings. And I came back. I was like, I can't do this. And then he was like, oh, there's another meeting. I was like, oh my God, the politics. He said, yeah, I don't like politics neither. But they were good to me.
Right.
So he was teaching me like how to separate your emotions and accomplish the goal. Even when I was fundraising and when things didn't turn out the way it needed to turn out. He says, a winner never quit. A quitter never wins. I said, oh. And that's why Paris Blues happened.
Wow.
Because he represented that male representation and void that was missing to believe in you and confidence. And that's what little girls need with their fathers.
Yeah.
And yeah, so those pieces of me and my journey, I find it in the work. I was like, oh, because, you know, he would say, I said, oh, I'm going to such and such. And he said, oh, your husband lend you? Right? You know, he's old school.
Right.
He's like, he had to learn. And what you'll find in Paris is Paris don't ask for permission. She's just going to keep asking questions and because she's curious. And to see someone who's very traditional in own ways, and I think at that time women just didn't have voices. You weren't allowed to ask questions. I think I don't know what in his journey made it different from him. He allowed me to ask questions, crazy or not, whatever, and I had my own opinion. He had his opinion, I had my opinion, but guess what? He respected it and didn't dismiss it. And allowed me to have the sense of safety where women who are in leadership roles feeling unprotected because they're being dismissed by men and women, right? Because the women go along with the men
Yep.
who are
So
not respectful to women.
Mhm.
So yeah, he filled that void and that curiosity that I had for just to get a picture of my grandfather. Now I'm on a quest to get his birth certificate because nobody knows his birthday. Or ask such and such, ask
Right.
such and such, but I don't know such and such,
Right.
right? Oh, such and such is in IET. Like, do you see what's going on right now?
Yeah.
Are people picking up phones? Like, I don't know these people, but it's that need to say, if my grandfather or grandfathers were in my life, would they have been able to fill that void that my father could not fulfill in his own journey as a man in the house,
Right.
where my parents had to separate for obvious reasons?
Right.
That my grandfather get to do it again, and not only they get to do it again, but they get to be the example for the next generation of men because they're the cultural elders and they have the wisdom. They've gone through the mistakes and they can help avoid the next generation.
Right.
But we need to fix the grandfathers because I'm walking down the streets of Harlem on a hot summer day and I see three elders sitting on the corner. I'm like, it's hot. Be inside and get some air conditioning. Oh
Right.
no, we looking at legs because it's summertime. And I said, really?
Right.
I need grandfathers to protect legs, not look at legs. And if we can fix that problem,
Yeah.
just that minor behavioral problem,
Right.
to think that this is okay, then I don't feel safe.
Right. I understand.
Now we have to understand safety is what makes manhood. Like knowing that I'm walking down the streets, I don't have to be like, oh boy, grandpa looking at my leg. If we didn't have laws, what would grandpa do?
Yeah. True.
It is, you know, for some people, they're the laws, they're too afraid of jail. The ones who are not, that's why they in jail.
Yeah.
Right.
Facts.
So that's why I said the campaign is make grandfathers great again.
Right.
I want you, if for the ones who are on the streets,
Right.
why? You got time. So let's go read these books to the kids and let's talk about the characteristics and traits of masculinity and the characteristics and traits of femininity and what helps us to be in harmony.
Right.
Not what you think, because there's something biological that's natural to us. And if we don't fix that, the lines are very blurry. And I'm concerned for my daughters because you don't want them to enter situations that we keep recycling from generation to generation to generation. Because when you hear the stories from the elders who are willing to talk finally,
Right.
you're like, oh, that's my situation. Well, why didn't anybody say anything? Because they're silent, right? Because that's what was taught to women
Right.
and told to women, that you're in the home, you can't be heard.
Right.
So that behavioral pattern got locked, and then we keep repeating the cycles, the same generational dysfunction.
Right.
And then let's just talk about the Black community, where it mostly impacted more, right?
Mhm.
Because of what happened to us. So make grandfathers great again. No, I need you off this. I need you off that corner. I don't care if it's hot. Let's create an event.
Yes. Like let's get the grandfathers to
We
come
have to
and
get the,
get them to read to your younger people, and I think it's important that the community as a whole, like reach out to those grandfathers that's like hanging out. Say, hey, you got a lot of time on your hand. Won't you read to the school
Mhm.
students or the kids in the library or the local community center? And what I think is so important, especially with the children book, you know, you draw from the short film, which again was an amazing film. If
Thank
you
you.
haven't seen the film, I'll have the link in the description below for you to watch. But just talk about that inspiration from the film into Paris and Pop, the series. So
Okay.
we went from the short film, and
Mhm.
now we're into the children's book.
Yeah. Okay. So I had to trademark the title Paris Blues in Harlem because I was compelled to, because there's something floating out there that's similar to my
Yeah.
title. So I had to take action to protect my intellectual property because I'm the first person.
Yes.
So through that experience, one might have seen, oh God, somebody just literally bit my title,
Right.
even though they changed the word. Um, I had to, with the attorney, she said, you want to consider all the categories that you want to trademark
Right.
instead of just the film.
Right.
Because if you want to expand it that way, you don't want to pay twice. If you
Right.
decide, oh, so think of all your categories. So one of my categories were books,
Right.
nonfiction, and fiction. So now I had to have a deliverables, right?
Right.
Before you, there's stages to this trademarking, and now you have to like, okay, here's the proof. I wasn't aware of that. I thought, oh, I can trademark it, and when I'm ready, I'll have it done. Oh no.
Mhm.
We moved to the second phase, and she said, okay, you have X amount of time. So I'm like, oh my God, I gotta write 4 books. and and there's a lot going on, just the different hats that I wear at home, being a mom and everything and all the responsibilities. And then I'm on to the next project, the next idea that I need to shape and form and birth.
Right.
So I said, well, what's the based on the time that I had, I said, you know what, a children's book would be great. And it'd be great to bring Paris as a 5-year-old and introduce Paris blues that's in Harlem to the younger crowd. And not only that, but show the traits and behavior of Sam, Pop Pop, so that children can identify the characteristics that are conducive of this grandfather who's masculine, and let that be something that we can continue to write more stories. But
Right.
they're learning also, and also, whoa, let's bring grandfathers
Right.
into the classrooms and be the anchor
Right.
for many teachers. Our majority of our teachers are women,
Right.
and boys hear men voices quicker and will respond. You got to talk 5, 6, 7, 8 times in the classroom. That's how you know, like, oh God, it's a loud boy. Then I say, be quiet, raise your hands, be quiet, clap once if you hear my hand, clap two if you hear my hands, and they stop and they go again, because they really need to be physically active, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's very challenging for a female teacher to have to balance that
Yep.
and the girls in the classroom. But if grandfathers are here and we develop stories to teach the children, boys and girls, so maybe this could be the small seed to the bigger picture, that we start to create programming that will help to reshape the patterns and the behaviors that they're not learning at home, because we're passing it from one generation to the other. Because I have a master's in psychology also. So I always look at things in an angle from a psychological perspective, and I'm looking at the behaviors, and also actors. This is what we do, right? If we're going to role play a character, we have to understand what's the nuances and the behavior and the pattern of the characters
Right.
that the audience will see.
Right.
Because it's not about the words, it's what we're doing with our bodies.
Right.
It's really the acting, right?
Right.
It's where we're telling you the truth, where words are lying.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the craft of acting. And so it'd be nice if those patterns can be discussed, addressed, and creating some form of programming that will help these young boys to, because I do understand testosterone energy, right? 'Cause I have a son. I was like, oh, this is where this is coming from.
Right.
I had to teach him no means no. Your sister said no means no, but pushing it. And I couldn't understand it. And I'm like, is that the testosterone kick? Right. Okay. So, because trying to see how far I can go with my boundaries.
Right.
I'm a bear is here. And she said no. So that you understand when you become, he's 19 now, that if a girl tells you no, it means no. It doesn't mean how, let me try to manipulate it, because then that becomes what people don't understand, the small steps to the bigger steps to abuse. So I had to teach him boundaries. I said, yeah, I know she's laughing. She told you no, but I'm telling you no, so you don't get yourself in trouble later on. Right. So as soon as you hear no, I don't care if she's playing or not, but you're teaching her. You said no, that's it. So that she don't play, and then you're not dealing with manipulative girls, right? So it's all about the boundary teaching and what's and the person's free will, so that some of the behaviors that are toxic, that are being passed on generationally in terms of masculinity, in terms of what happened to us, right? Violation.
Right.
So that we reshape it and not impose somebody's free will, whether you're masculine or feminine.
Right.
But it happens more so in the masculine because, you can get away with it. And I know this can lead to some of the problems that we had, because my daughter, when my youngest one reached middle school, because the testosterone kicks even more in these young men. And this young man said to her, he doesn't have parental supervision and is probably on all kinds of social media, and said, I will rape you.
Wow.
To my daughter.
Wow.
And he had said it several times, but she didn't tell me until he just took his hands and tapped her on her leg. Wow. And she said, Mom, that's it. So I went to the school to address it, and I'm watching a female principal trying to cover up for him. Wow. And asked my daughter, did he really do it? You sure he touched you? Well, let's stop. Are you sure? Yeah. But what they don't know is, because she was supposed to fill out a form, because you got to take that's serious.
Right.
Because he pulled out a butter knife on a young girl, and then another teacher, female, said, "Oh, what do you think he's gonna butter the artwork?" Wow. You see how this young man is being shaped, and he's already shaped like that at home. Because they're afraid of the mom, because anything he does, she'll go and just cause mayhem in the school because the cover up of the behaviors. And if we can use these books and use more stories, because I'm like, I need to take his story, this experience, and put it in a pop-up in Paris, so that we teach, is this correct behavior? It should, those things have to be addressed. And that's the point of just starting with these books and seeing, and measure and see what's the effects of the grandfathers. Right? Because by then you're retired. So let's give back. Let's give back and let's repair. That repair starts with you. And how do we use the pop-up character to teach the characteristics and traits that are conducive in masculine, that will get a response from the feminine. And that's my aim through my journey. Trust me, in my experience, not just as an artist, as a mom, as a wife, as a sister, to a brother, to another sister, and other people's experiences that I'm like, okay, there's something that is so common and so accepted that we don't realize that we are complying to the problem on a daily basis, both masculine and feminine. And those things can be addressed because the power of stories and how it shapes us. And I would love to move and progress this to a series for that age group, more on the cartoon level, right?
Right.
Because
Mm-hmm.
that will help, whether
Right.
it goes on a major network or whether it's licensed in the schools.
Right.
So any problems that come, we can address it and put it in these characters, in the situations, so that they become discussions, so that I want grandfathers involved because you got time. Because fathers are working, they stressed, right? They have to help with the operations of the home.
Yeah.
So this is where I see grandfathers can be involved because moms are always involved
Yeah.
in the schools, but it's getting them in the community and involved and addressing maybe some of the things they may still be doing now,
Yeah.
and say, well, how are we going to we talked about it, but now we need an action plan behind it. And what are the things we need to do to repair this?
No, definitely, definitely. Then, a little bit into the book, a little bit. Like,
Okay.
what are the characteristics of yourself is in Paris?
Asking questions.
Too many questions?
But, because she started off with, why are you pop pop and you're only one person,
Hmm.
right? Because in our communities, pop pop,
Yeah.
right, or Gigi ma.
Yeah.
But in the eye of a 5-year-old, I'm learning math. You're one person,
Yeah.
but you're pop pop. Oh, that might sound like a stupid question, right? See how pop pop handles it.
Mm.
Now it brings this the unseen and this unseen of our generation, and
Mm.
how he earned the title of pop pop,
Yeah.
two pop pop in one body. Because
Yeah.
because this is what, if you've ever been around babies and young children, their questions are logical,
Yeah.
and sometimes I think they ask the question to show the illogicalness in our world, right?
Yeah.
So she's asking a very clear, you're pop pop. You're pop. But why
Right.
are you pop pop?
Right.
Because you're one.
Right.
Because she's learning math. So
Yeah.
she's using math. Oh, he got two names, pop
Mhm.
pop. I need to know.
Right.
And then that's where you see him doesn't give her he gives her a little bit of the answer, but he asks her to come with her own answers, which is what helps um masculine to help with logical thinking or logical processing.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what helps, that's what gives harmony. Yeah, you have because I imagine me, I don't know, based on the dynamics at home, but you've heard some of the characteristics of grandfather. Are we looking at legs?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if you ask that question and Pop Pop is looking at legs, he'd be
Right.
like, "Only ask me that stupid question, Pop Pop. Because I'm Pop Pop."
Right.
He didn't do that
Right.
because you do have that,
Yes.
right? Because
Yes.
my grandma, I'm asking a question on because Jeopardy is more important. But before you go, I will have answers as opposed to digging for answers.
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong?
No, you're absolutely right, and
So,
that's the purpose of
yeah, I showed you Pop Up is busy reading his newspaper
that.
and she's disturbing him, but my grandniece,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's giving time to her. He sacrificed.
Yeah.
One of the key things that masculine have to learn is sacrifice.
Yeah.
Because that's his routine. Got to
Right.
catch up with the news and see what's going on in the world. But here's my grandniece here and ask me questions. because that was what playing in my head, but I didn't go into all that. I just, oh, she asked the question.
Right.
I need to finish my thought.
Right.
All right. I'm going to sacrifice,
Right.
finish reading my newspaper just to give my grandniece some time and help her answer her own question. And that's a healthy relationship.
No, and I agree. And I think the key thing about this conversation that we're having, I think the important character in the short film, as well as in the children's book, is time. When you talk about Papa, that he understand he may not have too much life on this earth, and now he's contemplating like, how am I spending my time wisely while I'm on this earth? So if my granddaughter is saying, "Papa,"
breaking his routine,
I'm stopping, and what my grandbaby need from me.
And that's the key thing, is that you're willing to be selfless.
Yeah.
Because that's more characteristic and trait that comes from the feminine. And the masculine is selfish, but those two things need to exist. We need both of them. Right. The yes and the no, right? The pouring into myself and the pouring into others. And how do we find that balance? Yeah. Right? Because one is not, you have to be selfish. I have to be selfish to say no, because I'm trying to create.
Right.
And then I have to know, oh, let me be selfless now, because now I need to give back. Right. So those polarities that exist between us, that's natural. Right. We just have to learn to balance it. And to break my grandmother and her routine is not important. You, first of all, you don't understand English. I'm like, you don't even know what they're saying, but you're cussing out the loser. You just know who lost, who won. Yeah. But if they had to put you in jeopardy,
right.
You answer questions, right? And plus, there's reruns.
Right.
So I was just asking her to, I'm young. I'm not understanding. Right. This is her routine, and it's so important. I think at the moment that was very important to me.
Right.
And I wanted to know about grandfather, because I don't care about Jeopardy. You watch Jeopardy every day. Right. So it was a moment. And plus, we had a document from my 1775. We have document of my great whatever number great it is, right?
Right.
My great the grandmother in our bloodline, when she was given up for dowry to our great whatever great grandfather, who's Caucasian,
right.
during slavery, a marriage contract that included the sale of her.
Wow.
With donkeys, souvenirs. I mean, it's so detailed, but it was in French. But thank God ChatGPT came into the motion. I loaded up that stuff, and it because it would have cost more money to get somebody to translate, because it was full French.
Right.
That was revolutionary. I said, thank you for ChatGPT. I said, can you translate? And I got the entire story.
Wow.
And to learn my great, she was 16, he was 38. I'm like, that's right. But this is the womb, right? On that land at the time when the Haitian Revolution was happening.
Yeah.
And her uncle sold her to him.
Wow.
And to learn that too, because the documents are sitting at my cousin's mother's in her drawer for decades.
Wow.
I said, can you make a copy, please? Just make a copy. And I learned my middle name, which is Marie. That's her name.
Oh, wow.
She was 13, but they didn't want to put the real age to make the marriage legal.
Right.
And then I'm looking at the timeline between when that marriage took place, when she had a child, and then that that becomes the next generation.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, they won the revolution, but this was happening in America. Da, 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 da.
Right.
It's good to know. It's good for us to know, and it's good for us to. I question, why would you sell your niece
Yeah.
on your homeland?
Yeah.
And this is the group of enslaved people that were willing to die, and they did before you took their liberty.
Yeah.
So, did he give her safety and protection?
No.
No. And why? They were cutting off. I mean, my mom said eventually they cut off his neck because when the revolution happened, independence,
Right.
people were killing the oppressors.
Yeah.
So he was one of them, even though he's my great grandfather. And then come to find out from research, he had a whole wife and kids in Belgium.
Wow. But that was the norm. That was the norm.
That was the norm, because my mom said the only way they can have land is they had to marry somebody from the land.
Yeah.
Because in the Constitution, the Haitian Constitution, you cannot sell land to the oppressors. So they put white people, right? If you came to Haiti, you could have land.
Right.
Because you're Black, because the trauma was real.
Right.
So the Constitution said only if you're Black. It don't matter where you come from. If you make it here, you're free. Because slavery was still happening in other places. But you are instantly a citizen of the country.
Yeah.
That's what Haiti did for the world, for the Blacks when slavery was happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just question, why did you just exchange her? And isn't that the sense of safety? Isn't that the challenge that we're having now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do pieces of it come out? I don't think intentionally I think that way. I think intuitively I'm being guided. Because sometimes I'm like, well, how did this come out? How did I make this up? I think there's a power beyond us.
Right.
You have the idea, and sometimes you're being guided, and you're like, "Ooh, this is magical."
Right.
But it's not me alone.
Right. And I think it's a phrase I used from a previous guest. Being descendants from slaves, is that we have that blood memory of the past. It's something that we can't comprehend, or it doesn't make sense. But it's poured out of us because we are connected to that horrible story.
Yeah, and to find out my middle name, which I will, because my name alone, the first name, I was like, it's long. So I would drop it. I'm like, I'm not gonna drop it anymore, because that's her name and that's my middle name.
Right.
So that's a connection that I'm wondering if my mom knew. She probably did, and why she gave me Marie. Marie is how you pronounce it in French, but in English is Marie, right? And I'm like, oh no, I'm going to emphasize my middle name now, because that's the 16-year-old. I'm going to say 13, because they make up numbers.
Right. Yes.
Just to legalize that marriage, which was supposed to be legal, because he's almost 40. But right there, I'm like, just the name alone, and of course, finally getting the documents, because no one took the initiative in my family to do something. I did.
Right.
And I sent it to my cousins. And when my uncle died this year, he transitioned, and my cousin just happened to be talking about, oh, I never met my grandfather. I heard about him. And I pull out my phone. I said,
right.
You didn't get the picture? He's like, no. And I showed him the picture, and it felt like 50 years of not knowing got answered for him in that quick of a moment.
Wow.
Like, he was just speechless. He couldn't speak for like 5 minutes, just looking at the picture. He had no idea what the man looked like.
And I want to tell a lot of people I haven't read. I'm super excited to read the children's book, Paris and Papa. Papa. I think what this conversation did is make the children book mm, experience, but experience of understanding the importance of our past and our history, and to take the time to appreciate if you have a grandparent, a grandpa, a papa, a grandma that's still on this earth.
Ask questions.
Ask questions.
Yeah, because the book is really simple. I don't go so heavy into storytelling because I included a activity. It's like it's forcing people. All right, let's do the activity in the book, right?
Yes.
Um, who write your grandfather's name in an activity so that you come together with the child and call grandfather. What's your grandfather's name? What did the grandfather, and grandmothers too? It's not limited. It's both sides, but it just happens to be Paris and Papa. That now we can go count the generations, right? So I'm including the math thing. Say, oh, helps them with math, but it also helps them to get the name.
Right.
If all we do is the name and create like this, put it on pop sticks, write the name, maybe we'll explore for the pictures. Maybe we'll explore for this. But I have a QR code and I'm still building it up where I'm building community. Now we can go into the Paris blues and pop up on TikTok. We can meet, we can create memes. So it's creating like how we're able to speak on virtually, so that when we can't meet live and then we can create live events wherever you are and send them on the Paris Blues and Pop Up, of the Paris and Pop Up, right? To share the activities you did in the book and advance it beyond what a simple activity that I'm suggesting. Then also helping partnering with educators and creating lesson plans that can be downloadable on, okay, now we could do this, so that we now really start digging and getting the questions, whether it's positive or negative, but I need to know.
Right.
Because what if those aspects live in my son?
Right.
And we talk about what grandfather did, right? Whether good or bad.
Right.
It's like, oh God, I'm kind of similar in those traits. I have to be careful so I don't end up like him, right?
Facts.
We're telling people, know who you are.
Right.
But how? When you don't even know where you come from, when you don't even know the story of your ancestors or your family and your generation. My uncle, who transitioned this year, I didn't know he played 9 instruments. That's all. I know my my children say, the uncle that don't talk because he's silent. He's quiet.
Right.
But musically, he would just listen to Beethoven all day, every day, and it drove me crazy. But he was playing, like, here's notes. He was a composer for the Haitian army.
Wow.
But whatever happened to him, whatever trauma, because that time, you're talking about the dictator.
No, you're right.
You're a composer during the dictator who's just killing people left and right, which included my mother's cousin, who was an activist. They just killed an entire family. So my son is gifted musically. And even on his father's side, his grandfather is a musician. But I didn't even know on my side, I'm like, he played 9 instruments, but I have to find that out at the funeral because I had to write it up.
Right.
So I told my friend who was helping my mom, can you ask these questions? The obituary, because he was a very quiet person. He was not a lot of words.
Right.
Bye. He spoke a little bit, engaged a little bit, but that music all day, every day. And here's my son who's gifted in drumming and started drumming at the 8 as young as 4. He was playing notes. Wow. Not 4 months.
Wow.
And I didn't know he was playing a certain rhythm that job was due until he was 2 and 3, and a drummer said,
Right.
"I didn't know how to play this. This is the break." I'm like, "It's the what?" I'm not a musician. Right? What? He said he's playing the breaks. I'm just thinking, oh my God, this kid is drumming. His rhythm is impeccable.
Right.
I don't know if the break or whatever. I just know I can't find a class for him because he's too advanced for his age. Because he hears it, plays it, and you would think, but it'd be nice to know that, oh, this exists in my generation. This man plays 9 instruments. Is a composer.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm doing it, because let's learn.
Yes. I agree.
So he might not have been of much words, but music did something for him for whatever trauma he experienced in the military.
Wow. Facts.
And I'm pretty sure my story, other people can also, they have their stories. And beyond the books, it's just, the books are just a little seed to plant a movement.
Yeah.
However that movement is, whether your organization, hey, let's do this, or the organization that we now start to stop complaining. What's driving me crazy is the complaint.
Right.
These podcasts, men talking about women or women, it drives me. We're not getting to the solution because, okay, if you've been through it, I've been through it, da, 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 da. Okay, so now the next generation, is it fair? We've talked enough. Like at this point, we should be talked out.
No, I totally agree. I think, especially with this amazing conversation, is that what you're doing, you're leading that example of what an individual can do on their side. What you're good at, apply to it. But this has been an amazing conversation. Like we could do another hour.
Forever.
We could do another hour.
Okay.
Okay. Everything else.
I'm open to, the book is just, what do you call it? It's that little medicine to get the ball rolling so we can now have actionable steps.
Yes, attainable
step, not, and real steps.
Yes.
Because if I was not a mom to a boy, I would not know, oh, this is where this comes from.
Right.
So now I have the insight. We got to teach healthy boundaries. Yes. So for moms who are single mothers, we got to train them that the relationship with your son has to have healthy boundaries.
Right. Because
cuddling him, you're reducing his power to rise up to his manhood.
No, I agree. I totally agree. I think across the board, whether single mother or single father or a toxic relationship, these are things that need to have a conversation, but also come up with solutions to help them. If that means going to therapy, or trying to find like a community center where you can go to get resources to help you what you're dealing with. These are some of the attainable things that can be done. It's just letting people know that exists and just putting it in their hands to say, hey, you're talking about there's no resources. Well, hi, here.
Yeah, and how do we create a prevention model? Right? We have to teach the healthy boundaries in raising a boy is very essential with the mom.
Right.
And with the dad and the girl.
Yeah.
You got to keep your word.
Yeah.
Your word is your bond, because this is where she develops trust, sense of safety, and love.
Mm-hmm.
So don't say something that you're not going to do.
Facts.
Those two simple things are the most difficult because our behaviors are already locked and shaped.
Yeah.
And to undo it is the most difficult thing. We can talk, we can go in therapy and talk, but we need aggressive um, patterns and behaviors models
Yeah.
to help recondition, reprogram. Because without that, we're talking forever.
Seriously.
So that's the intervention. The intervention is the most difficult one because you're locked into this is how I am, this is where I am, male or female, right? But the intervention, we can create models so the school can pattern so that this is how we reshape and reprogram it. Because we can talk about it, but we got to figure out behaviorally what do we have to put so that it reprograms so that we have healthy relationship. Because I told you, Sam kept his word. I never had to anything he said. He said when we were fundraising, he said, "Oh, all right, you can use my space for free. Okay, and I'm gonna donate this amount at this date and this time." I never had to second guess he's not gonna do it.
Wow.
I trusted him. And when a girl can trust a male, that's everything. But it's in keeping your word is your bond. What you agreed to and you keep it.
Yeah.
And the boundaries. It's so simple, but it's the most difficult thing.
No, definitely. And I want to end it on that note.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on the show. I truly appreciate you. How can people find you? And most importantly, how can people get the book?
Okay, so the people can get the book at lulu.com. That's where it is now. It's Paris Blues in Harlem, What Makes a Pop-Pop? And then the second book is Paris Blues in Harlem, What My Pop-Pop Means. So you just go to lulu.com and you can get it. That's where it is now. And me, you can find me, Nadhege, or you can put Nadhege Official because I'm artistically, I go by first name only. And you can find me on social media. When you buy the book, there is a QR code and it will lead you to the other spaces that we are in, but it's being worked on. So just keep checking until we set up where people could sign up and join the TikTok space community. I call it the village community. And where we'll have posts, memes, and people's experiences. So these little simple books, very micro. There's coloring books for the kids so they can color because I made it hybrid. So it's like a simple story, activity, and coloring book, QR code. Come join the community. And let's see how we can solve the problem collectively through the Paris and Pop-Pop social movement stories.
Definitely. This has been another amazing conversation here on the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, all that stuff, and we're out. Peace. All right, hold on.
Peace.